Wednesday, September the 12th. Lake level is about the same as it was last week. It's right there at 913 and a half. Water temperature is coming down a little bit, not too much. It's still 78, 79 degrees in the morning. It depends on what it does outside, throughout the day. You might find some 76 in the morning, but it's still getting back up 77 to 79 degrees throughout the lake. But this past weekend, the kids had their National Youth Championship. I think there was like 180 boats or maybe 150 boats. But there was a lot of fish caught. I was able to participate with my grandson and another boy from Ozark. And I think, there was over 50, 60 limits of fish. So, the fish are biting good. It's still just hard to get quality fish. And the way we caught ours, the same way that I've been catching them, and a lot like we talked about in the past few weeks. We caught them on a drop shot, football jig, 5-fish ultimate finesse jig, and big shaky worm. And, we probably had, 12 keepers or so. The problem is it's just hard to cull up much over 2 1/4 pounds, or it has been for us, It's just been hard to get around a good bite. We were able to cull up in the afternoon once the sun got out on a whopper plopper. We got to cull a few. But what I've been throwing mainly to catch the numbers of fish is, in some areas, it's a drop. What I'll normally do, I'll get out on these main lake points with a drop shot and a jig. And I'll be dragging the jig or a worm around, and if I see what I feel is drop shot fish, I'll pick up a drop shot and drop it down. Normally I'm using like a brown purple chompers laminated, 4-inch plum worm. A lot of different worms will work. The Kanamis will work. A Zoom finesse worm will work, but I have pretty good luck with the chompers and a little hand pour a friend makes. Now on the jigs I'm throwing a 5/8 ounce pig sticker when I'm throwing a football jig. And the green pumpkin orange is working well for me. And I'm using either a Zoom speed craw or a rage craw for the trailer. Any kind of twin tail in the brown, green pumpkin, or watermelon seems to be working. And also on the ultimate finesse jig, I'm throwing a 9/16, a PBJ is working, and I've got a rage craw on this. And I've also been catching quite a few fish. And you can throw this. This is on a big shaky head. It's a 5/8 ounce shaky head that we make. And it's it's a Magnum, Zoom Magnum finesse worm. Now the trick worm is the same diameter, but it's a little bit bigger. And we've got this on a 4-rod hook. And basically the best bite's been 25 to 28, 29 feet. Some days it'll be brush piles. But most of our fish the last week or so have come off of rock transitions. And I'm either structure scanning till I find a bigger rock out there on them points or roll-offs, or we're just dragging the jig. A lot of these fish are kind of roaming around out there because the bait's roaming as well. But usually once you find them, they'll be pretty consistent from day to day. And like I say, we're just kind of dragging the jig on bottom or the worm, fishing it real slow. And if I see several fish that I can vertical fish, I'll pick up and drop a drop shot. But that's what we've been doing for several weeks, and the pattern and depth should pretty much stay the same until the thermocline breaks up, later in the month or into October. Now last week I said I was going to talk a little bit about spoon fishing. And there's several different spoons. A lot of times we've got a good spoon bite going on right now around the docks with a flutter spoon. But I've got to fish a lot of docks in order to catch a few keepers. There's different times of the year that a spoon can work real good, and I'm going to go over the different types of spoons. There's basically 2 different types of spoons. There's a slab spoon and a flutter spoon. Now usually on a slab spoon I'll throw anywhere from a 1 ounce to a 1/2 ounce, and normally I use these when I'm vertical fishing. Just like drop shot fishing, either fishing the tops of deep trees, or a lot of times if I get a group of fish that's fired up on a drop shot, I'll pick up either a 1/2 ounce or a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce slab spoon. That way you can get it down there quick. I can fish it on heavy line, And usually once them fish get excited, you can catch them on a spoon versus the drop shot. So you can catch them faster, and you don't have to worry about netting the fish. You got heavy line on the spoon. A lot of places I use the flutter spoon is the post spawn seems to be about the best time, or any time the fish are chasing shad, and they're actually starting to do that right now out over deep water. Some days when you can get a little bit of a topwater bite, or you see some fish schooling, and they come up and slap at a topwater bait, I'll always have a flutter spoon. Oh, tied on. That little stinger hook got me. This is the River to Seas. This is the worldwide spoon that James Watson designed that just came out. And you'll notice it's actually got a little stinger hook here on the top. And what I really like about this spoon, it's kind of a cross. This is a Dixie Jet flutter spoon. And this is a big Strike King, 5.5 inch. It's kind of right in between size. It weighs an ounce. Now it will sink faster than like the Dixie Jet or the Strike King, but the flutter spoons, they still take a while to get down to the 30-40 foot depth range. That's normally when I'll use a slab spoon when I'm fishing that deep. But when the fish are suspended under the docks, anywhere from 5 feet to 25 feet, the flutter spoon is my go-to. And especially like I was just saying with these topwater fish, if you find some fish that are schooling, what you can do is cast a flutter spoon out there and count down to whatever depth you feel the fish are at. And a lot of times, if they're schooling, I'll just let it drop about 5 seconds and work it back, almost like a jerk bait, back to the boat. Or I'll pump it, let it fall down a little bit. You know, pump it, let it drop down 5 or 6 feet, so it's kind of yo-yoing back. And most of the time when you get bit doing that, they're pretty hard strikes because the fish are out there chasing bait. But it's a great bait for over deep water structure, fishing suspended fish, you know, fish that had been schooling or chasing topwater. And when they get in the docks, you know, some days they want a flutter spoon where it's falling a little bit slower, sitting in front of their face longer. Other times they want a slab spoon, and I kind of mix up the slab spoons. I mean, I use, Jewel makes one called a scuba spoon. This is a War Eagle, 7/8 ounce. Then I've got this one here, it's a 3/4 ounce. And I think it's a Dixie, it's a Hazy Daisy. It's real similar to the old hog jaw spoon. But I'll just mix it up between the slab spoon and the flutter spoon to see which one they want. But as it gets a little colder here, then thermocline breaks up, then fish are gonna go deeper, and they usually group up pretty good over the deep trees, and that's where the slab spoons will come into play a lot more. But if you get a chance, you know, I've got a video that's on Table Rock Lake Fishing. No, it's on hookedonbass.com on my website, that a buddy of mine that's since passed away, Bill Beck, which was an awesome fisherman on Table Rock. He's got about a 15-minute video that we did, posted it on my website a couple years ago, on different ways to use a flutter spoon and the type of structure to fish it around. So if you get a chance, check it out. But normally, 12 months a year, I've always got a spoon tied on, whether it's a flutter spoon or a slab spoon. It's just such a good follow-up bait for topwater, for schooling fish. A lot of the same time you're throwing a swim bait, we'll mix it up with a big flutter spoon as well. And on this River to Seas one, it's really a top quality bait. It's got swivel in it. Real good hook. A lot of the reason we use a swivel is to help keep the twist out of the line. Now, line size, normally, I mean, I use at least 15-pound line, especially when I'm flipping the docks in around the boat stalls and the boat lifts. You know, I'll go 17, 20 pound. But most of the time in the open water, I usually use 15-pound line. I like to use fluorocarbon. I feel the bite's a little bit better. Now, the reason for this little stinger hook, a lot of times when you get fish, I talked about when you're drop shotting, you get the fish fired up, you pick up a spoon, catch several fish. Sometimes you'll get several fish that'll hit at one bait. Well, with this little stinger hook, it's in a good place where you can hook up. If a fish goes and bites at the top of the bait, you can get them hooked up. Also, you can catch doubles. What we used to do was put a treble hook on the line, Problem with a treble hook is you get around the trees and it gets stuck a lot more, even in the dock stalls as well. This hook here is small enough. I haven't had any trouble with it getting stuck on the boat lifts, but if you get a chance, check them out. I know down here at the lake they've got them at Extreme Outdoors, Kimberling City, Sportsman Factory Outlet has them in stock, and he's got a ton of really good colors on it. You know, my favorite one is probably white. You'll notice everything I showed you is white, but this one is similar to like a Strike King Chartreuse Sexy Shad. It's got a little purple in it. And Table Rock, you know, any of your plastics, if it's got green pumpkin, as long as it's got a little purple in it, it seems to work. You know, like green pumpkin purple on your jig trailers works real well. But he's got a lot of really neat colors. Cloudy days, you might try solid gold. But if you get a chance, check out one of these spoons. So, you know, the fishing should stay good. Lots of numbers of fish for the next few weeks. Till that water cools down, the lake gets ready to turn over, and that thermocline breaks up. Should be pretty consistent. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.